Hey, yo, what's going on, Sky Pillar Stadium? My name is Ballhawk, and these are the last and final post-strat power rankings that we got going for the main divisions this season in Season 3. This is for Moltres Division, in case you haven't figured that out by looking at the logo in front of you. And tonight, I am joined by my co-hosts. I'll let them introduce
Jared,
themselves. Sorry.
I don't know. You could call me Jared, Jared Power Strike, Jared Weak Strike, or just, I don't know, Jared.
And I'm Red. You can call me Seth. I don't really care. What's up?
Alright, so the way we're going to do this is I'll introduce the team, and I'll read it off, and I'll hand it over to you guys. Sound like a plan?
That's good.
Yeah, same. Or
Alright.
not, or agree.
Alright, alright. Let's get into it. Starting us off at number 16 from Moltres Division, we've got Film Up. Film Up has Tornadus Therian, Mega Steelix, Dracozolt, Jellicent, Gigalith, Hatterene, Zarude, Darmanitan, Hitmontop, Venomoth, and Flapple. I'm going to hand it over to Red first.
Okay, so right off the bat, biggest glaring issue about this team is probably the Zarude for me. I just hate Zarude in general, personally. So that being a part of your Fire Water Grass core is kind of unfortunate. And also there's a really random Flapple here. Not too sure what it's doing here. It's kind of just here to have overlap typings, and it doesn't add much to the team. Like, sure, it's your Dragon type, but it's another quad weakness, or it's a quad weakness, and it's another Grass type, so it's not necessarily needed. The type synergy overall is pretty bad. Its only Cleric is Hatterene, and it has no Wish support. It does have decent momentum and like solid hazard removal, and the Sand offense is actually quite like. It seems like it would be fun to use, but other than that, like that's all it really has going for it. So I don't have much else to say, so I'm gonna hand it over to you, Jared.
Yeah, the sand hurts Zarude really hard here with Synthesis. I don't really know if Flapple gets it, but like it, and then Zarude has Jungle Healing, which is just, was it 25? So it's a lot worse than Synthesis. Yeah, Synthesis. Um, Hazards are only two Stealth Rocker, no spikes. I don't really see Venomoth bringing, so it's only Rapid Spin on Hitmontop and Defog on Torn, which doesn't really help this team break outside of his sand offense and Darm.
I guess one thing to mention is that Hatterene does have Magic Bounce, so it does kind of help deter the hazards.
Yeah,
Is that all we have to say about this team?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
Alright. Moving on to number 15, we've got Nintago Foxo, a newcomer to the Sky Pillar Stadium, and he's bringing Mega Lopunny, Spectrier, Mandibuzz, Rotom Heat, Azumarill, Celebi, Excadrill, Dragalge, and Roselia to the party. How do you think he's going to do, Jared?
Um, this team is very nice with the Mega Lopunny, Spectre, Mandibuzz, Rotom Heat. Like, that's just an amazing core. But Azumarill as your defensive fairy really hurts this team, especially since no Wish support for Rotom Heat. Um, this team is very just get in your face offense, and then it doesn't really do anything defensively outside of Mandibuzz without Wish support. Like, Rotom Heat only has Pain Split, which if it had leftovers, it would help a lot, but that outside of that just really hurts this team a lot. All right, Red, what's your thoughts on it?
So immediately, yeah, I agree that like on paper this team does seem like really threatening offensively. Megalopunny Spectre is actually a really great core. Megalopunny obviously can just spam the fighting and normal moves because there's no immunities in the game, and then it can clean up those normal and dark types of Spectre to clean late game. Um, I think Roselia is a little redundant here. Sure, it adds the spikes and toxic spikes, but you already have toxic spikes in Dragalge, and I don't think spikes are all that necessary for this team. The speed tiers are really, really awkward. It goes 135 to 130 and then immediately drops down to Celebi at 100, which that's a big gap to have. It may seem like 30 isn't too much, but it is pretty important when it comes to prep. The removal isn't too bad. Mandibuzz and Rotom Heat are both great defoggers. Excadrill has spin, and it's a really solid spinner. I think Rocks is a bit of an issue for this team. The only two Rock setters are Excadrill and Celebi, and neither of those really want to run Rocks every week, so it it can make that hazard front a little hard to fit on your team every week. Other than that, like it's just got very scary offensive threats, like I said before. And I think having sand on this team would have been cool, but it's not really that big of an issue. I just felt like it was worth mentioning. With that, I'll hand it back over to you, Ballhawk.
Yeah, I definitely agree that the Roselia pick was a little bit questionable at the end. I would rather see him just stick with the Roselia and get something else over instead of Dragalge. I like the mindset that he was going, want to get up, get toxic spikes to help, Celebi and Rotom Heat status the opponent and make way for Spectrator, just clean up late game with strong Hex attacks. But yeah, a little bit questionable. I like the idea, but just kind of fell short a little bit in my mind as well. Moving on to number 14, we've got Professor Chug. Professor Chug has Dragapult. Finally, I know he's been chasing that thing for a while. He also has Tangrowth, Slowking, Xurkitree, Incineroar, Weezing Galar, Diggersby, Hitmonlee, Caparaja, and Mega Pidgeot. What do you think about his team there, Red?
Okay, so obviously any team with Dragapult is going to be really solid. Dragapult's one of the top mons in the format. I personally think it's a little overhyped, but I won't get into that. First of all, he's got great momentum. He has 5 Pokemon that have access to some form of momentum, which means he's going to be able to pivot around the opposing team and get his big threats in really easily, especially with one of the best pivot moves in the game in Incineroar having Party Shot. Um, I think the speed tiers are really, really wonky. Like it's worse than the previous team speed tiers because it goes 142, 121, and then a massive drop down to 87 in Hitmonlee, which is not ideal at all because it leaves a lot to be desired in the range from like 90 to 120 ish. There's no wish support, which is a little unfortunate. He does have aromatherapy in the form of wheezing, so at least he's not completely dead in the water in that sense. Although there is a huge reliance on Weezing to be the sole defogger and cleric for this team, which is very unfortunate because it'll be very rare that you'll actually bring defog Mega Pidgeot. You can, but it's not super viable considering that it doesn't have the ability to run boots like you would want on a flying type that would act as your defogger. The only rocker is Caparaja, which also isn't ideal. It's very hard to bring rocks on Caparaja and have it be a setup like a setter lead. I've used it in the past and it didn't really work out too well when I tried using it as one of the only rockers on my team. And that's pretty much all I have to say, so I will hand it over to you now, Jared.
Yeah, speed tiers is very wonky on this team. It's very just get in your face of offense with Tangrowth, Slowking, Instant, and Weezing as those defensive mons, and it doesn't really commingle with the offensive. Like it just doesn't synergize well. It just doesn't work out. So I'm gonna pass that off to you, Ballhawk.
I just see that glaring drop from 121 to 87. That's almost a 50-point speed gap. Like, that's such a huge speed, placement as well. All those things that are at 88 and above, it allows them to start, thinking about, especially the base 100s. They get up there just a little bit above that, they can start running Adamant or Modest over Timid, or Jolly. It's doesn't seem like a lot, but it allows them to pack a lot more punch, or a bigger punch. Get my grammar correct. That's all I got to say about them as well. So we'll move on to number 13. Moving right along, we've got Fatty Jones. This was a unanimous decision to put him at 13. His team consists of Melmetal, Mega Gardevoir, Vaporeon, Infernape, Donphan, Drapion, Regidrago, Serperior, Armaldo, and Thundurus. Now this team looks pretty decent when you're just looking at the roster above. I'm gonna kick it off to Jared first to tell me why you guys have him so low.
The speed tiers are done very well, except for the fact that Serp is its fastest mono on this team. Like, it's not really outspeeding things. That's probably a big reason. No, I don't see Trick Room on this team with Melmetal, which hurts.
Gardevoir gets Trick Room, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think it does.
Oh, it does?
Yeah,
Alright.
that's the soul side of
Yeah.
those, so it's not ideal.
The wish support's nice with Vaporeon, Flip Term. It really does well with Melmetal, Regidrago. It's really nice, but yeah, it falls apart after Serp being the fastest mon on this team, where it just doesn't really do anything after that. I'm gonna send that off to you, Red.
Okay. The offense is probably the best thing that this team has going for it. Melmetal is a great breaker, and Frenip is a great breaker on both sides. Mega Gardevoir with Pixelate hits super hard. Superior has the ability to be a good late game sweeper and start stacking up those kills after it gets the boost from Contrary. Thunder's T, slap a Choice Scarf or specs on it, and it just hits super hard. Um, Initially in my notes, I did write that the hazard control was solid. I think I meant more in the sense that, you know what? No, I take it back. Yeah, in the sense of setting hazards, but removing hazards not so much. I don't like that his best remover is Donphan. Sure, Superior with Defog is a set, but it's like again not very common and not ideal. The momentum on this team is also really nice. It has a good Volt Turn core with Vaporeon, Thundy, and Infernape. So it has the ability to get in its biggest breakers and hit really hard. Um, and again, there's a heavy reliance on Donphan to be like the soul setter and the soul remover pretty much because it's going to be rare that you bring Armaldo to fill that same role when Donphan just does it better in every way. And type synergy wise, it has a really bad weakness to ice and ground. But other than that, that's all I have to say. So back to you, Ballhawk.
I'm excited to see Reggie Drago, you know, pop off some strong games. I think he's got the supporting cast around it to help break down some things that it doesn't want to touch. I think he's got good solid switch-ins between Melmetal and Mega Gardevoir for any dragon type attacks, and then he's got Vaporeon to absorb the ice type attacks. So the glaring ice weakness doesn't scare me as much, just because he's got Vaporeon and Melmetal, and you know, outside of that, yeah, I agree with what you guys said. Moving on to 12, we've got HGC, another Sky Pillar Stadium newcomer. HGC has Mega Scizor, Togekiss, Toxapex, Haxorus, Necrozma, Typhlosion, Persian Alola, Mamoswine, Virizion, Rotom Fan, and Baby Mawile. What do you got, Jared?
This team is very nice with Mega Scizor being the backbone of this team. It pairs really well with Toxapex, Mamoswine, and Typhlosion. Mawile here is very just low pick. I don't really see it fitting well on this team. I mean, it's a PU-Mon right now. The hazards are mainly just Necrozma and Mamoswine, with Toxapex bringing Toxic Spikes, which is really nice. I do see Typhlosion and Toxapex being very, like, you have to bring that if a really good fire types come in against your team. But yeah, this team synergizes well. The speed tiers are alright. The bug weakness for Persian being its fastest Mon is covered decently. I would say pretty well with Mega Scizor, Togekiss, Toxapex all resisting it, and that pairs very well with Necrozma. So I think I said all I have. I'm gonna pass it off to you, Red.
So I may end up correcting myself later on during this video. I don't remember exactly, but I think this is the second best Fairy Dragon Steel Core out of all the drafts. Like you said, Jared, Megasazor is the backbone for this team. I think it's really solid on this team, actually, along with Haxorus. I think those are going to be two of the most potent threats that this team will have. I don't like that Typhlosion is a part of the Fire Water Grass core. Like, it's okay, but because Toxapex is more defensive, it's really the only defensive part of the Fire Water Grass core. So it's gonna be a little more difficult to use Virizion as a defensive check for like Toxapex's weaknesses or Typhlosion's weaknesses and so on. It kind of does suck because a lot of the more offensive bonds can be forced into more defensive roles here because he does lack some defense. Like there's like Pex is the only real wall here. Like Necrozma can be a wall, but it also does really well offensively. So I don't know how much he's going to struggle with using Necrozma, considering that he might want to run it offensive, but he has to run it defensive because of the matchup. Same with Togekiss, and the same with Virizion and Mamoswine as well. They both might be forced into more defensive roles when it's not very much the optimal solution for a matchup. Other than that, I think the speed tiers are solid, and when he is able to bring offensive Togekiss, sorry, not offensive focus, my bad. When he is able to bring the everything as offensive, the offense can be very scary. With that, I'm gonna pass back to you, Ballhawk.
All right, I don't have too much else to add. Love the Mammal Swine pick. I'm excited to see what he can do with Typhlosion. Typhlosion was one of my favorite Gen 2 starters, and so it'd be nice to see it actually shine. So with that, and actually it has solid cheap synergy with Mega Scizor being that Flash Fire Mon that Mega Scizor loves to have on his team.
True, true.
So yeah, we'll see if that thing can pop off with some strong eruptions. Moving on to number 11, we've got Pokedex Holder Orange returning to the Sky Pillar Stadium. This season he's bringing Clefable, Scizor, Marowak Alola, Dragonite, Rotom-Mow, Urshifu, yeah, Rapid Strike. The sprite threw me off. Landorus, Mega Absol, Orbeetle, Wartortle, and Volibee. What do you got, Red?
So, right off the bat, the biggest thing that I see is great momentum. He's got six Pokemon. No, seven, because Flip Term War total. He has and Teleport, Clefable. Sorry, I just noticed that as well. He has like 8 or 9 Pokemon with access to momentum. So this team is all about getting in and clicking that momentum move to get into your heavy hitters. Um, he's also got really scary Trick Room potential. He has Trick Room on Orbeetle. Okay, just making sure. Marowak Alola, in my opinion, is probably the best Trick Room breaker. I guess Melmetal's also up there, but I think Marowak Alola is the best because it has access to Swords Dance and the ability to run Thick Club, so it hits stupid hard and its dual stab goes practically unresisted. Web support for Urshifu on this team is great. I think Urshifu is going to be able to do a lot along with Landorus. Although it isn't sheer force, Landorus still does hit rather hard. So with that web support, both of those mons have the ability to really punch holes in the opponent's team. He's got solid hazard control and a really solid Fairy Dragon Steel Core. I think this is also one of the better Fairy Dragon Steel Cores. I know I said in the last one that was probably the second best, but this is a really close runner for the best Fairy Dragon Steel Core out of all the drafts. 2 quad weaknesses to ice on this team isn't ideal in Dragonite and Landorus. So it's going to be a little difficult to play around that, I think. I guess Scizor does resist, and so does Marowak Alola. But I don't see Wartortle coming all that often, so it's really just going to be Marowak Alola and Scizor as the main water resist. Oh, and Urshifu, sorry, that's not Single Strike, it's Rapid. But again, Urshifu is not the greatest mon to switch into as a defensive check, so that's not going to be ideal. Other than that, Jared, you can go ahead and give your points on this team.
Yeah, the Fairy Steel Dragon Core is very nice here, but the ice weakness it Marowak is not very a well defensive fire type, especially towards ice. Um, yeah, that's Urshifu and Wartortle are your only water types, which it doesn't really synergize well with Scizor, with Dragonite being your only like really good wall against fire types, which I don't really see them bringing defensive Dragonite, especially for a fire type, especially since it's very well offensive. But you can bring it. Levitate. This team's very good on supporting Marowak on its ground weakness. Like, was that only one mon weak to ground, and it's Marowak, with almost every mon resisting or levitating or flying. So yeah, I'm gonna pass it off to Ballhawk now.
Actually, I'm going to chime in real quick. My bad.
No, go
I
ahead.
think there's a way too much reliance on Clefable. I just noticed this. Clefable's like really forced to it's going to be the backbone for this team is what I think. I don't see anything else here that's going to be really holding this team together defensively.
How so? Explain.
Okay, so like Jared was saying, Dragonite's gonna be forced into a more defensive role. Scissor's gonna be forced into a more defensive role. So like, that's not ideal when you want to run those mons more offensively. So it's a lot of pressure on Clefable to be that switch into things that you just don't have an answer to, like the ice weakness. You basically are forcing yourself to either bring Wartortle or use Clefable as your switch in. So that's kind of what I mean in the sense that Clefable's really pressured as the defensive backbone and glue for this team.
I can see your point. However, I don't know that he really has to sacrifice any offensive prowess with Scizor just because Scizor it's Scizor. I mean, he could slap um, an assault vest or not even doesn't even have to do that. Just go 252 HP, adamant, and max attack, and that thing will tank enough, from ice attacks and be able to roost it off later on, or just pressure things offensively with just an unset up knockoff U-turn, bullet punch, sand tomb, whatever. Um,
Stantium.
it's there. um, but outside of that, I can see your point. Where the ice checks on this team are null. The things that you see on the type chart that do resist it, they're kind of niche. Like you say, War Turtle. They're not really gonna bring that every week. The one thing I will say though is that this team kind of has a hyper offensive vibe to me. Outside of the Clefable and War Turtle, Vullaby, Orbeetle, Weavile. No, there's no Weavile.
No, Orbeetle's offensively threatening, dude.
It well,
Calm Mind, Iron Defense, Sword Power, Body Press.
Right. So that's what I wanted to highlight. I wanted to highlight Orbeetle because much like you say, Clefable is going to be the defensive backbone of the team. I would argue that it's Orbeetle. I think it's going to be something that's going to be an unsung hero of this team, being able to provide both screen support, sticky webs, be a setup sweeper if teams aren't prepared for it. Don't sleep on Orbeetle. The frisk ability is, information is power in draft leagues. I think Orbeetle is a very good piece to this team, and I think if I was him, I would rely on it a lot. Honestly, I think this team is tailored perfectly to allow it to shine as a great support mon, and offensively threatening from week to week. If the matchup provides, the opportunity.
I better see Shell Smash War Total at least once this season.
Oh yeah, it's gonna sweep.
That'd be awesome. All right, moving on to the top 10. We've got Bubba Fubba Bubba. Say that 5 times fast. We've got Mega Mawile, Zygarde, Porygon 2, Greninja, Vikavolt, Chandelure, Manaphy, the newly discounted Manaphy, Serena, Nihilego, and Carkol. Speak your piece, Jared.
This team has a no steel type, or I don't see one. So that no, Mawile, my bad. But
Doesn't count. Doesn't
yeah,
count.
it's weird. This is a basic Trick Room team for the most part. Porygon is the backbone of this team, especially with Mawile just being its offensive Trick Room. Manaphy being your defensive water just sucks because Manaphy lost so much since Sword and Shield. It doesn't really do much for this team outside of Heal Bell, which or is it Serena? Has aromatherapy, so it doesn't really do that much. Vikavolt here helps a lot with Mawile's ground weakness and Chandelure's. That helps a lot. But yeah, this team is just meant to punch holes and relies on Porygon a lot for its defensive. Same with Manaphy, but we don't talk about Manaphy.
Yeah.
So I want to pass it off to you, Brett.
No worries. I think you highlighted practically everything bad that I had to say about this team. Yeah, I don't like that Manaphy is the defensive water. It lost its offensive prowess because it no longer. I mean, sure, it can run Calm Mind, but it's not as immediately offensively threatening as it used to be. So I think that if Bubba had gone with any other defensive water, this team could have been a little better off. I wouldn't say it would raise it too much in my rankings, but it might have been a little better than it is now. I don't like that the only rocker that he has, like, when I say only rocker, I mean only real rocker, is Carkol, because Nihilego and Mega Mawile are rarely ever going to be running rocks. So that basically forces you to bring Carkol if you want to have any form of hazard that isn't spikes or toxic spikes. I do think that offensively it is rather threatening. Nihilego, Vikavolt, Greninja, Zygarde, and Mega Mawile, and Chandelure are all very scary offensively, especially in a Trick Room with Porygon and Mega Mawile. I think Chandelure has the potential to be cool under Trick Room. I know in the past I've seen people run Chandelure Trick Room, so I think that could be rather cool if the matchup permits it. Other than that, this type synergy is really bad. There really isn't a good ground check. Like, Vikavolt's the only one, right? Yeah, Vikavolt's the only good... Oh, and Serena, but... I don't think that's ideal because ground spam is pretty free on this team once you get rid of Serena or Vikavolt, and it's really weak to Edgequake coverage. But yeah, other than that, I'm gonna pass it back over to you, Ballhawk.
Um, I'll just say one thing: don't sleep on Greninja. I've been doing a few mocks. I did a couple mocks for Boot the other night, and Greninja just completely destroyed the team that I was using. So while it does not get Protean, it doesn't need it. So I'm looking for that mon to explode for Bubba. Moving on to number 9, we've got Jared himself. Jared has Tapu Fini, Aegislash, Victini, Weavile, Nidoqueen, Thundurus, Komala, Chestnut, and Druddigon. Should we let him defend himself first before we attack?
I feel like it'd be more appropriate if I give an analysis first, and then
Go
he
for it.
can give his thoughts and give a rebuttal if I
Yeah.
say anything.
Go for it.
Okay, so I feel Jared undervalued himself. He put himself at 12th, which is like fair when you're doing PRs because it's you don't want to overvalue yourself because then people are like, well, that's kind of stupid. But I think his team's really, really solid. I really love the Fairy Dragon Steel Core for this team. Tapu Fini and Aegislash are amazing, and Druddigon is a very good value low tier dragon. Offensively, this team is threatening. It's got Victini, Weavile, Aegislash, set up Tapu Fini, Thundurus. There's not many things that can switch into this team comfortably. It's going to be very hard for opponents to prep, I feel. Aegislash is always a mixed bag. I feel like I'm using that term incorrectly for what I really mean. I just mean it's going to be, he's a jack of all trades. It's very hard to know what the Aegislash set is going to be. It could be stall, it could be special offense, it could be setup offense. Same with Victini, it can be more defensive, or it can be special or physical. So I think Jared has a lot of options for his team. The hazard control game is really solid. Unfortunately, this is a minute point. Glare spam isn't that accessible because of the fact that he does have Misty Terrain, but it's not that important. Same with not having a good way to heal statuses because he has no cleric. He only has Wish and Komala. Again, that's a minute point because he does have Misty Terrain. So for the most part, as long as he can play correctly, it'll be all right. The speed tiers, though, are a little awkward, and I feel that's why I had him a little lower than the top 5, because I feel this team had the potential to be a top 5 team. The speed tiers get really awkward when you get to Victini to Tapu Fini. That's a 15-point drop, but again, it is quite a bit when it comes to prepping. Overall, like I said before, offensively and defensively, this team works really well together synergistically. So that's all I have to say about this team. Jared, go ahead and defend yourself if you feel like I said anything wrong.
No, I would say you did everything quite right. Toxic Spikes on Nidoqueen is gonna be less of an option with Misty Terrain. That's gonna hurt this team. But I mean, I have Victini, Aegislash, Weavile. Like, there's so many offensive threats that I can use without Toxic Spikes to break teams. But yeah, Glare Spam hurts. Like, you said everything. It's
Okay.
And it's like it's not even like you need the top tier offensive threats on your team to be, the offense each week. I mean, anything on this team could be very relative from week to week. From Tapu Fini down to Druddigon. So.
Yeah, it's gonna be very hard to prep for because even Chestnut, like Belly Drum, is a set that Chestnut can run. So it can be very unexpected and just sweep an opponent one week.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for letting me know that.
Giving this man tips. All right, we good to move on?
Yep.
All right, top half of the division. Coming in at number 8, we have Delta Rec, a crossover from the Quarantine Draft League. He's got Mute, Landorus Therian, Darmanitan Galar, Raikou, Ferrothorn, Dracovish, Emboar, the GOAT, Mega Audino, Skuntank, and Yamask. What do you got, Jared?
This team is very, I don't want to say very top heavy, but Mew, Landorus, Darm are just an amazing offensive threats. Like, and Mew can run defense, but it's insane. The one thing I will say is that no Rain Setter does hurt Ferrothorn and Dracovish. Like, you could have gotten a low tier one, like you could have gotten Winkle. Like,
That would have drizzle, unfortunately.
It doesn't. Oh
no.
But yeah, that would have helped if you got a Rain Setter just to make Dracovish a lot more threatening. Protect against this team is gonna hurt a lot with Darm and Dracovish being hurt very much by it, since they're mostly running choice options like choice Scarf, Band. Um, Yamask, I don't think is gonna be that much of a bring. I mean, I don't even know what that thing does, but um,
It's literally just to deter body press spam, I think.
all
Like body,
right,
yeah.
yeah.
Other than that, it's useless.
Um, Hazard removal is kinda me like it's all right. Mew doesn't really like defog, but it's an option. Same with Landorus. I mean, bulky Landorus is a good set, but you, I mean, yeah, a Skuntank is probably its most designated defogger, which I mean, Skuntanks are really good low tier, so that's all I can say. So, pass it off to you, Red.
Yeah, first of all, the Satan spawn Mega Audino is here. Um, I have PTSD about this mon. I don't want to talk about it. So moving on, like you said, the hazard control is like okay. Mew, it does suck that has to force Mew or Landers into that more defensive defogger role, or even off. I guess Scarf defog is a thing that Landers can do as well. Sure, Skuntank gets it, but it's you can't bring Skuntank reliably every week. I do think offensively this team is extremely scary. He managed to get two of the most scary offensive bonds, the two big red buttons in Darman and Tangela and Dracovish, like you said. One point that you did bring up that uh, I didn't think about originally is yeah, protect spam against this team is going to be uh, very significant. Sorry, a random window just popped up. So sorry about that. One sec. All right, my notes got closed out of because a random window popped
You're
up
good.
on my computer is trying to update something. um, yeah. Other than that, the highest special attack stat is 115. That's the last thing I think I wanted to mention. So yeah, go ahead and take it, Ballhawk.
So this team is straight up hyper offensive in my opinion, aside from like three team members being Ferrothorn, or being Ferrothorn, Skuntank, Yamask, and I want to see hashtag gotta know in this in the chat for this video because Mega Audino is going to put in some work. It's going to have to for this team just because, you know, like you said, he's going to be very protect weak, just from teams being able to scout against. But on the other side of that, you know, that could be a double-edged sword because teams could fall victim to just using protect too much. You can predict that and fall into a substitute and just win because of that. You know, so
Substitute belly drum Zen mode.
yep, it could go both ways. So definitely, you know, if he falls himself or if he finds himself in a you know, backpedaling a little bit in the matchup, it could be hard for him to recover just because he doesn't have switch-ins for things that really want them. So it'll be interesting to see. I know he likes to use weakness policy, so maybe that's part of his plan, and just be aware of that.
Wait, all right. I want to say one more point. I really want to see Rain Dance Mew. Like, that would be such a good set on this.
I bet you he'd bring it.
I think Politoed is still available. I feel like if you grab Politoed or something like that, like he doesn't even need a Mega. If he really grabbed Mega Audino, he might as well just not have a Mega on this team.
False.
So getting something like Politoed could be really cool for this team, I think.
Slander.
Alright,
How dare.
Ballhawk, since you're a Mega Audino fan, does it gate Rendance?
I
think
believe it
so.
does.
It does.
Alright, then I want that. And then I'll submit to the hashtag.
Audino.
We will not stand for this slander of gotta know. Moving on to number 7. We've got Astrius. Astrius has Mega Golade, Hydreigon, Heat Train, Crobat, Tapu Bulu, that pink fish, Steelix, Auroras, Rotom, Meloetta, and Arctovish. Take it away, Jared.
The Fairy Dragon Steel Core is very nice with this team. Hydreigon and Heatran synergize very well with Hydreigon's Levitate. Tapu Bulu, great pairing with Heatran. It's just bread and butter of Tapu Bulu Heatran synergy. Alamola here is okay. I mean, it's Alamola. It's its only Wishmon, which, I mean, if you bring in Wish Mega Lead, I want to see that, but, I mean, that's kind of weird, but, yeah. That's mostly how to say. It's just very good offensively. The speed tiers could be a lot better. That Crobat Mega Lead drop is, and to Hydreigon after that Mega Lead is hurts, But after, like, I don't know. I think that's one of the biggest things. More than I look at it is the speed tiers. It just bounces around after from Moeta to Tran, and then yeah. All right, I'm gonna pass it off to you, Red.
Yeah, so I think Astraeus actually made a couple transactions after week one, and his team's a lot better now. But since we're only focusing on grace period transactions, this I feel like this team did struggle a little bit. It is really awkward in the speed tiers, like you said. Offensively, though, I 100% agree. The offensive prowess of this team is absolutely insane. Mega Gallade Hydreigon is a fantastic core. Heatran can even become Scarf for that thing's a threat with Eruption due to the synergy that it has with Tapu Bulu. I'm not the biggest Tapu Bulu fan, especially now that Rillaboom's a thing. I don't think Tapu Bulu really stands out too much as a Pokemon. It's just kind of there. I do like the low tier budget Arctivish with Auroras for the Slush Rush shenanigans. I
I
think
was
he
gonna
dropped it
mention that too.
unfortunately, but what's up, Bahawk?
I was gonna mention that too. I was excited about that.
Yeah, I think he dropped it though, which is unfortunate. I think he
He
dropped it just
picked
to grab a
he
low
picked
one
up
item.
yeah. So you
Yeah.
still have that option, but it's
No, he dropped Arctivish and Auroras for just a low one
oh
items.
both. I thought it was just
Yeah,
Auroras.
nah.
Aw,
Yeah, it's very unfortunate. I think his Firewater Grass and Fairy Dragon Steel cores are both really solid. Again, Bulu being a part of that, I think I just give Bulu too much hate. I personally don't like it that much. But other than that, he does have a pretty bad weakness to fighting. Crobat does quad resist, but other than that, not many things are switching in on a fighting type. So yeah, go ahead and take it, Ballhawk.
I will echo the fighting type weakness, and I will say that's one of the big things that this team does not want to go up against. Good news is that it has the premier fighting type on this, or fighting Pokemon on this team, so that's a plus, taking one less threat out of the move pool, or out of the pool that it has to face. I will say that, I'll echo the Tapu Bulu hate. I want to go on the record as saying that Tapu Bulu is probably my favorite Pokemon in Gen 7 just because of the design and the concept of it and the Tapus in general. I thought Game Freak did it very dirty by not giving it physical stab outside of Wood Hammer. I think it really needed the fairy type, and if they just gave it play rough back, I think this thing would be on par, maybe a little bit lower than Rillaboom, just because it doesn't get the priority Grassy Glide, but it definitely wouldn't be as far of a drop from Rillaboom as it is right now. With that said, I do like the synergy that it has with Heatran. I just don't like the speed tiers that they compare, or comparatively between the two of them being like right neck and neck, 77 and 75. But with that said, I mean it's draft. There's only one Rillaboom, so being a little nitpicky there. But other than that, yeah, I like the team. It looks very bulky, offensive, and very versatile. So moving
Could have
on.
just gotten Thwacky.
Yeah, yeah, for real. All right, moving on to number 6, Almighty Arceus. He has Tapu Koko, Hawlucha, Swampert, Metagross, Volcarona, Gourgeist, Raichu Alola, Audino, Gudra, Murkrow, and Weezing. What do you got for this team, Red?
So I actually don't have a lot for this team. I really just offensively and defensively, this team synergizes so well. Offensively, this team is scary as all hell. Hawlucha and Raichu Alola with the Tapu Koko Electric Terrain is going to be stupid good offensively and very hard to play against. And then defensively, he has those backbones that are there to switch in and soak up the hits that Koko and Lucha can't take. Um, the hazard removal is a bit of an issue. He has like what I think it's Koko, Lucha, Volcarona, and Murkrow, so it's kind of hard to fit Defog in on any of those three more offensive mons. Koko can run it, but then again, with the terrain nerf, you're getting rid of your own terrain, so it's going to be harder for him to bring Koko in, click Defog, and then he's going to have to bring Koko in again to reset his terrain if he wants to get Hawlucha in later down the line to sweep. I really don't have much else to say about this team, so I'll pass it to you, Jared.
yeah. Hazard removal is very just not as good. A Rabid Spinmon would have been very nice to help with preserving the terrain here. Um, yeah, you only really have like Tapu Koko and Volcarona. I don't ever see Lucha run Defog, and I don't ever see Murkrow being a Mon. So it's very not good. Hazards sending them, they're all right. Swampert and Metagross are very good hazard mons, but um, Banded Swampert's becoming a more potent set, so I really want to see that on this team. Again, a low tier Rain Setter would have been very good on this team. It synergizes so well with Tapu Koko. Um, I mean, it would hurt Volcarona, but it would hurt. It would help Gudra, Raichu, and Tapu Koko with just Thunder Spam. Um,
Well,
yeah, that's all I gotta say.
not only that, but two other things that would help out with Volcarona and Gudra is Volcarona would get access to 100% accurate Hurricanes, and Gudra would get um, the Rest GUI set. You know, more
Oh,
or
yeah.
hydration rest set more readily available.
I think that, yeah, if this team were to grab Politoed, I think it would actually be crazy good because he doesn't have to bring rain every week. It's just an option that he has.
Right, and that's what makes semi-rain teams so scary. The one thing that I'll say is that how Lucha does have the ability to set itself up with the Unburden boost. I've seen White Herb close combat to set it or to proc it. I've seen Fling to proc it. He's got options. Bringing TR-43, having a base 130 Dark type attack to proc your Unburden is kind of nice sometimes. But yeah, he's definitely got some thick switch-ins for his weaknesses. Definitely a very well-rounded team. The speed tiers don't look too bad either, so excited to see what Arceus can do in Season 3. Moving on to number 5, we've got Trenton. He's got Urshifu Single Strike, Slowbro, Zapdos, Ribombee, Gengar, Registeel, Arcanine, Mega Altaria, Lickitung, Cradily, and Bronzor. Scary looking team. What do you got for him, Jared?
Urshifu's Single Strike is really good, just in general. This team complements it well. Arcanine and Registeel helping with that fairy weakness. Arcanine is just such a good defensive fire. The one thing I will say is Lickitung being your wish setter, it's gonna be good, but with Registeel, it's gonna be very, I don't know, that fighting weakness is gonna hurt, especially since, oh wait, Gengar's there, never mind. But yeah, the speed tiers are good. Yeah, they're good. Ribombee to Gengar are decent, but with sticky webs, it helps a lot with this team. You can even run Trick Room Urshifu Single Strike Iron Ball, which, I mean, that's not really a good set, but it's heat, so yeah. Um, Alright, I'm gonna pass it off to you, Red.
Okay. I'm actually gonna say that your point about the fighting weakness is completely incorrect. He has Zapdos, Slowbro, Ribombee, Gengar, Mega Altaria once it's Mega Evolved.
In
So
Jared's defense, Ribombee isn't really a switch into anything.
Yeah, but I do agree. Yeah, I
that's
wasn't really looking at the team well.
I
Gengar,
mean,
Slowbro, yeah.
yeah. If you get the prediction right, though, it's a quad resist, so it's not going to be taken too much from even a banded close combat.
That's fair.
Um, Again, yeah, like you said, the immediate offense on this team is insane. Urshifu and Gengar are gonna break really well for each other. Gengar breaks through those annoying fairies that Urshifu might have to deal with. So once you get rid of that fairy type, Urshifu's kind of free to just do what it does best and click Wicked Blow for the rest of the game and take things. Um, Fairy Dragon Steel and Fire Water Grass Cores, they're okay. Mega Altaria being a part of that isn't optimal. I think Mega Altaria is good. It's just it being two parts of that core isn't great because you have to mega evolve it before it even counts as a fairy type. So you're fairy list for part of the battle if you can't get it mega evolved. And then I don't think Cradily is awful. I think it's a pretty decent low tier pick. But again, it being a part of the fairy Fire Water Grass core isn't the best. But I think his other two Pokemon in that core make up for it. I really don't have anything else to say that Jared didn't cover. Other than I guess Hazard control is pretty solid. He does have the option for webs with Urshifu, so that is pretty cool. Yeah, go ahead and take it, Ballhawk.
Yeah, for sure. The webs option is awesome and pretty key for this team, I think. The biggest thing that I don't like about this team is that drop between Mega Altaria and Registeel in terms of speed tiers. But if we're looking at that a little bit closer, you're never really going to run Registeel with any speed. or Cradily or Slowbro. So really, it's like once he gets the 80 um, speed mark below that, it's kind of like no man's land with those Pokemon. So that's not necessarily ideal, but on the same side, it may not hurt him too much, just because those things are fat, that rust down there. So um,
I made an oopsie. I retract my point. I forgot Rabambi's part fairy type, so he's not fairy-like. Yeah, my bad.
Gotta get that on the record.
Yeah, I made an oopsie. I take it back.
We'll allow it. Yeah, I don't really have too much else to add other than this team seems very synergistically strong, and it does a good job of checking its own weaknesses. Moving on to number 4. Shit. Y'all didn't see that. Trent's gonna help me, help me with the spoilers. I accidentally skipped up to number 3, but y'all didn't see that. You're only seeing number 4 right now. At number 4.
And to number 1 we have.
Right. All right, coming in at number 4, we've got DJ Ali. DJ has Latios, Rillaboom, Rotom Wash, Mega Aggron, Florges, Moltres, Muckalola, Palossand, Ambipom, Cloyster, and Sudowoodo. Good luck, Moltres Division. What do you got, Red?
So I think that this team is also in the running for one of the best Fairy Dragon Steel cores in this draft. Mega Aggron and Florges are just so fat. Mega Aggron physically fat, and then Florges especially fat. Those two things work really well together synergistically, and they just take hits for each other. And then Latios is a premier offensive threat in this format. Same with Rillaboom. Rillaboom's crazy offensively. Rotom Wash even is a scary offensive threat. And then he just has really good backbones to back it up, like Moltres, Muckalola, Palossand, which is really underrated in my opinion. Now you may say the Cloyster pick looks a little out of place here, but I disagree. It does give him 2 more forms of hazards, and it gives him a scary offensive threat in the form of a Shell Smash user. And again, he doesn't have to bring Cloyster and Rotom Wash in the same week. So it's really just up to him. And it also forces prep on the opponent's part because you don't know which water type could be coming. Just offensively, this team is super scary. And like I said, defensively, it has all the backbones necessary to support that offense. I have basically nothing bad to say about this team other than the fact that it is slightly on the passive side, because once you get past the first 3 mons on this team, it kind of enters the passive, enters the realm of passiveness. I guess Mega Aggron isn't completely passive, but it is more commonly a defensive role, or I guess rest talk body press. But yeah, that's really all I have to say. It's not super passive, but it could do with a little bit more immediate offense. So yeah, go ahead and take it away, Jared.
Yeah, this team is basically one of the best Mega Aggron teams I've seen in recent times, at least, with just the Levitate Rillaboom. It just eats earthquakes. It's actually insane. The fire type not being weak to ground helps a lot. Hazards are really good, with 3 rock setters being Mega Aggron, Palossand, and Sudowoodo. I don't really see Sudowoodo, but I mean, it's a good budget pick. Spikes and Talking Spikes from Cloyster, like Red said, is really good. It gives it more diversity in what you're gonna think you're gonna see Cloyster. I'm a huge Florges fan, so I love that mon. The defog on this team is really good. The Moltres, Megalodios, Rotom, and Florges, where it takes a lot of pressure off of Florges being the defogger, which it's mainly just Cleric, Wish, Heal Bell, Protect, Moonblast. So it's good to have 3 defoggers outside of Florges. So yeah,
Wait, did he get Mega Latios?
No, just Latios. Did I say
Did
Mega
Jared
Latios?
say Mega?
He did. I'm just teasing.
Oh, my bad.
You're good. I'm just teasing. Yeah, I think this team is very this. I love this team. Honestly, I think I attempted to draft something like this last season, and then proceeded to start 2-0, and then just forgot that Grassy Surge was an ability on Rillaboom and started to bring Overgrow, and fell on my face. But
it's fine. We don't talk about that. We don't talk about that.
No. But yeah, no, I like this team a lot. He's got very good switch-ins for his thing, for everything that everything has a good defensive switch in here, but to your point, it does tend to fall in that realm of passivity at some point, and he's going to have to prioritize keeping things like Gladios, Rillaboom, uh, Rotom Wash, and Moltres to an extent alive long enough so that they can do their job late game. But knowing DJ, he's got the skill to pull that off, and I'm excited to see how he does with it. Coming in, top 3, podium, number 3, we've got Rom. Rom has Celesteela, Mega Charizard X, Sylveon, Crocodile, Blastoise, Amoonguss, Azelf, Hitmonchan, Smeargle, Raichu, and Mismagius. What do you think about this team, Jared?
This team is just amazing. Like it's just so good. The Fairy Dragon Steel Core is really good. The only thing I'd say that's negative about it is that Mega Zard, you have to Mega Evolve to get the dragon. But yeah, the Levitate Mons are really nice here, especially with Amoonguss not being a ground resist with Azelf and Mismagius. This team supports Celesteela really well. It's just an amazing team. Like I don't. Hazards could be a little bit better with just Crocodile and Azelf, but for hazard removal, you have 2 Rapid Spin. Defog could be a lot. It's being left. Oh, was it a lot to be desired with Zard and Smeargle, which that's I don't ever see Zard bring in Defog and Smeargle is Smeargle. So yeah. All right, I'm gonna pass it off to you, Red.
So, I think this team is great. I ranked it lower than you did, Jared, only by 1. But the biggest thing that stood out to me was like, this team needs to support Megazord X, and his, like you said, his only defoggers are Smeargle and Megazord itself. So he has to rely, because let's be real, Smeargle isn't coming to every week. It's not really a real Mon in general. It might come once or twice this season as a gimmick Mon. But that means that Hitmonchan and Blastoise are the only real removers for this team. And that does scare me considering that it has to support Mega Charizard X because of the fact that Roxas take 50% of its health on switch-in if it's not Mega Evolved yet. So spin blocking, I think, is going to be a really big issue for this team. But as long as Rom can play around it, and I'm sure he can because he is a great player, then it shouldn't be too much of an issue. Like you said, hazards are great. This team just supports itself really well, and I don't have anything else really negative to say about this team, so I'll pass it back to you, Bahag.
I know that he's won one championship with Mega Charizard X, and possibly Celesteela. I don't know if he's won with Celesteela or not, but I know he won WPF last season with Mega Charizard X. So be on the lookout, Moltres Division. He's gonna tell you that he doesn't deserve to be up there, but he does. He deserves every ounce of respect that he's being put into Moltres Division, and he's here for the crown. Watch out.
Agreed. Yeah, Rom is just an amazing person.
Yes, sir.
He is. Coming in at number 2, we've got Chris. Chris's team consists of Zeraora, Gliscor, Kyurem, Umbreon, Whimsicott, Bronzong, Salazzle, Mega Blastoise, Miltank, Ariados, and Dusk Noir. Take it away, Jared.
This team is just really amazing, and it really does deserve the spot that it has. The only gripe I have with it is that I'm not a big Whimsicott fan, which I don't know if that's just personal, but yeah. The Fairy Dragon Steel Core is really good here. It's great with Bronzong Keep Proof blocking fire types since its dragon type doesn't resist fire. The fighting weakness is an issue, but I mean he's got it covered. Whimsicott resists it. Gliscor is just an amazing mon. Ariados, which it's mostly a gimmick, but it quad resists, and Dusknoir. So yeah. All right, I'm gonna pass it off to Red.
There are only really 2 issues that I see with this team, and that's that it's slightly rock weak. Its only real switch it is Bronzong, and its speed tier from 143 to 117 leaves a little bit to be desired. It is a bit of an issue, but other than that, I really don't have anything bad to say about this team. It's got a great defensive backbone. and it's got really scary offense and one of my personal favorite megas and Mega Blastoise. I think this team has a lot of potential to do great, and I'm really excited to see what Chris does with this season. I really don't have anything bad to say about it, so I'm just gonna pass it off to you, Ballhawk.
I am going to echo everything that you guys said, and I think this team is built fantastically. I am, however, a big Whimsicott fan, so I think his Dragon Fairy Steel Core is doing very well here. Bronzong is the only leg that I feel like could be improved a little bit, but I've ran Whimsicott and Kyurem before, and they work fantastically together. A full incense trick Whimsicott can really ender a team. Oddly enough, as Ram has shown me in the past in league matches. I think the Mega Blastoise is fantastic here. I think Salazzle is going to be key on this team as well, just being able to chip things down. And late game, Gliscor is going to be able to just outstall things and some weeks set up and just win. Kyurem is always threatening for a Scarf user, and Zero Aura is just Zero Aura. It's a fantastic setup sweeper thing that can just terrorize teams in its own right. So, well done, Chris. Very good team, and congrats. Looking forward to see how you do this season. Moving on to the top spot, the guy that we all think is number one in the Moltres Division post-draft PRs, we have Daniel. Daniel's team consists of the GOAT core. I don't know how y'all let him draft this, but look out. You're about to reap the consequences of it. He's got Garchomp, Mega Diancie, Corviknight, Milotic, Cinderace, Dhelmise, Galvantula, Scrafty, Mesprit, and Kangaskhan. What do you think about this, Red?
Yeah, so here's the best Fairy Dragon Steel core in this entire draft. I don't know how the hell he got this. It's insanely good. Mega Diancie, Corviknight, and Garchomp all support each other really well. Offensively, Mega Diancie and Garchomp terrorize teams, even Corviknight to an extent with Body Press or even Power Trip setup. Even the Fire Water Grass core is really good. Milotic is insanely annoying to break. Dhelmise is really good, and I feel underrated a lot of the time. Cinderace is great offensively, even without Libero, it still hits hard as hell. Pyro Ball hits really hard. And it just gets really good coverage, so it's very hard to switch into it. The web support for this team is really nice. It gives Garchomp and even Mega Diancie to an extent, the ability to run less speed and threaten a lot of the Pokemon that are now slower than it because of the fact that webs are on the opposing side. Scrafty is another mon that I feel is very underrated, but I really like on this team as a defensive backbone. It synergizes rather well with Corviknight. And then Kangaskhan as well, another great low tier pick. If you were to ask me what something I thought was bad about this team, I could not give you an answer. I genuinely love this team. That's why I think it's number one. So go ahead and take it away, Jared.
All right, so Daniel is our man. He's our man. Dhelmise is a very good defensive backbone for this team. It's an amazing grass ghost mon in this team. The one thing I do say is worrying is that Cinderace is its fastest mon, but I mean you have sticky webs, and I might be just talking out of my ass there, but that's my only mild gripe with this team. But yeah, the Fairy Dragon Steel core is amazing. Milotic and Garchomp, I've run in that core. It's just amazing. Cinderace, a really good fire offensive type. This team's amazing. It's just so good.
It's amazing.
All right, I'll pass it off to Ballhawk.
I will. I'll just close it out by saying that the top four that he's got is exactly what I was attempting to get in the Articuno, but just fell out of order with it, and it just didn't come to fruition. But I think his team really just checks itself very nicely, and I think it's going to be one of those teams where he could probably bring whatever set he wants on Garchomp, Mega Diancie, Corviknight, Milotic each week, and just pick two filler mons to come in behind them and do just fine. Because Milotic doesn't need, or Mega Diancie doesn't need any setup. Garchomp doesn't necessarily need any setup, but if it gets it, look out. And Milotic is just annoying to break, and it does a good job at chipping teams down for things like Garchomp and Diancie to finish them off, and checks in really nicely for the things that those two do not want to take, and that's ice and water and steel. So, well done, Daniel. I think this draft is going to serve you very well.
I did forget to mention, my Logic does have competitive, so that is something that could happen and be pretty cool with web support.
We've seen how that can play out in Articuno Division.
Yeah, did you have it right? Didn't you?
I do, and I
Yeah,
led it against a Landorus Therian lead and
that's right. You had
helped.
Adrenaline Orb and you
Yep.
basically
Oh my
swept.
god.
Yeah.
And that was about all she wrote for that game. All right, that'll do it for the Moltres Division. Thank you guys for tuning in. Congrats to everyone on your fantastic drafts, and we're looking forward to see how you guys do this season. I will thank my co-host for joining me tonight and sign off.
Woo.
Yeah.
Peace.
Such a delay.
Oh.